I have backed more than 400 crowdfunded comic books, and these are my top 10. Here at number 8, Six Gun Gorilla by Brian Kraiskow and Andy Sibar. Now, this is the great Western of independent comic books. If you took Sierra Leone and transformed him from an Italian filmmaker into an American independent comic book maker, you would get Brian Kraiskow. This is all the heart, sadness, violence, and action you would expect from any great Western. At the core, there's a story of Kumba, which is a baby gorilla who was living in the jungles. Hunters came through, killed everyone in his tribe. He then was taken as a little baby and brought to America, where he was sold to a traveling circus owner. And this gorilla was one of a kind. He could listen to language, started to understand people. He could read books. He could do everything but talk. This is one of the unique things about his characters. If a principal character who doesn't talk, it's selling all of his emotion on his facial expression and his action. And in many ways, this makes his character stronger because the choices all have to come from his actions versus from lengthy dialogue. He then becomes very close with the daughter of the circus owner, and he becomes close with the circus owner. It becomes his family, the family that got taken from him. In the circus, the gorilla has a special act. He has these large, huge six-gun revolvers where he does a bunch of trick shots, shoots a bunch of things in the air, and it shows his incredible human-like skills here, truly one of a kind. Then the days get dark like all good Westerns, and the most violent outlaw and his posse rolls up on this circus and slaughters everyone. They're looking for Giuliano. Abigail, this girl who he loves so much, gets wounded, her father gets killed, and the family that he's rebuilt gets taken from him once again. And now he is on a path of revenge. As here with Kumba, Kumba thinks he's brought the violence to them. Turns out he's innocent, and there is this rich man who wants him dead and has hired this posse. That's also part of the secret in this story here. So this trio, a wounded circus performer, this violent gorilla with two massive six guns, and an Italian cowboy are making their way for revenge to take out this posse. One of the great things also too is Brian's broken this down into chapters, each of them with a great name like The Big Gun Down, The Day of Anger, all the trappings of a great Western. Now the art in this here, Andy Sibar's art, actually the late Andy Sibar, is really something that sets this story in motion. It's simple and clean, and it really lets you focus on the character, and he does a fabulous job of the expressions of Kumba, because so much of the weight relies on his facial expressions to sell the emotion here. So here's Giuliano and Abigail, and this small trio is on the path of a big revenge, and that all goes down in The Big Gun Down. This was Brian's first launch of the book, and then he released the next chapter here just via a single issue, which I loved here. Shoot the living, pray for the dead. Great tagline. And this book is where all the crazy revenge goes down. And what I love about this story is you get all of the violence and action of the West, but there's a huge gorilla doing it. So he's blasting away with his revolvers, sometimes using one with his foot, smashing people's heads through pianos. The trio that Brian has assembled between Abigail, who starts out as the bright, young, happy circus performer, and then in her wounding and her father's deaths becomes transformed into a much darker woman. And then Kumba, the innocent gorilla, who becomes this violent, revenge-fueled animal. And then Giuliano, this Italian cowboy who decides he needs to stand up for the first time in his life, all coming together. That trio is the core of the story. What makes it so engaging is that your posse that's riding out for revenge are all broken in their own way, but they're bent on this one thing. This is great storytelling, great art, and a story you couldn't get anywhere else. Independent comic books are the place to chase ideas that simply can't be found on mainstream shelves. I love this comic here. You should read it. Brian has another chapter in the story out on crowdfunding on Fund My Comic. You should check it out. What an amazing creator. Anything he's doing, I would be reading.